join us.
It's showtime.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are tonight's entertainment.
You're not here, you missing out, because this show...
Ladies and gentlemen.
All right, listen up. And now, the moment you've all been waiting for.
It's time for the Alliance Guys podcast.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Alliance Guys podcast, a presentation of Alliance-Wrestling.com, your number one source for news and information for the National Wrestling Alliance. Hello, how are you? I'm J-Cal. That's DKM. We're the Alliance Guys. It's Thursday. You're in the right spot. If you're here to talk NWA, we're here to talk with you. Come at me now. What's up, DK? How are you doing today?
Oh, well, it's Thursday, and I'm lacking sleep. Want to go to bed, and hate people, so it's a pretty normal day.
Do you find it weird that you hate people, yet you love talking to your boy, Jay?
Well, there are exceptions to every rule.
All right, we'll take it. We'll take it. Did you watch Power this week?
I did. I watched it about an hour before the show.
What did you think? Without getting into too much detail, what did you think about it?
I had mixed thoughts on it. I enjoyed a lot of the in-ring stuff. There's only a little bit that didn't care for. Didn't like all the shenanigans that took place in some things, but with one exception. And we'll talk more about that when we talk about the show. What about you? What did you think? Because I haven't had a chance to ask you.
Yeah, we have. It's usually we're talking about it on Wednesday or at least early Thursday, but neither one of us got a chance to watch Power earlier this week. I thought it was pretty good. Some of the wrestling, look. I feel like the wrestling was all pretty solid. Some of the storyline, I'm not sure where they're going with things. Like, that's not different though. That's not unusual for the NWA. And then of course, the segments, the whole thing with Bit Crush, which I think is their the generic name they use for their GameStop segments, vignettes. I would retire that like last TV tapings. I think the best time to retire that was like the time after it first aired.
I almost agree with you. I would have retired it the time before it aired.
See, I don't have a problem with them trying something different, right? Like I want to encourage them to try to do different things. It's like I tell my kids, right? Like I want them to try, right? Like if they're like, "Hey, Dad, I want extra dessert." Okay, well, ask for it. I might say no and I might say yes, but at least try. Empty mouths don't get fed. Squeaky wheels get grease. I want that to happen. But
here's my issue with that philosophy.
Sure.
I don't necessarily disagree, but there's a difference between trying something different and doing something stupid.
That's fair.
And you need to know the difference. For instance, I might try something different in that maybe I'll start exercising. With the current conditions of my knees, it would be stupid for me to try a 3-mile run.
That's fair. I look at it like this, right? Like I think it was the best? No, but do I appreciate the effort? Yeah. And I feel like, you learn from your mistakes and you move on. Same thing I tell my kids. You learn from your mistakes and move on. And there's some things that will work, and then there's some things that don't work. And I think in this particular situation, it's not working. But as opposed to getting down and on about the whole lack of success with the vignettes and the backstage segments, I do want to talk about we are on the road to the Crockett Cup. Now, obviously, the NWA is celebrating 40 years of the Crockett Cup, with the first ever Crockett Cup taking place back in 1986. The first ever Jim Crockett Sr. Memorial Tag Team Tournament, and it was won by Hawk and Animal, the Road Warriors, all the way back in 1986. Then later, Nikita, Koloff, and Dusty Rhodes would win the tournament in 87. And then the last Jim Crockett Promotions ran Crockett Cup would see Sting and Lex Luger winning the cup in 1998. Now, the tournament resurfaced with the blessing of the Crockett family for the National Wrestling Alliance in 2019. Brody King and PCO would win the inaugural, modern day Crockett Cup, and in fashion would become the new NWA World Tag Team Champions, the first time the belts were crowned in the Lightning One era. Then the following year, they took a sabbatical for COVID, of course. There wasn't a whole lot of wrestling happening for the NWA during the COVID area. They bring back the tournament in 2022. Jay and Mark Briscoe, the Briscoe brothers, RIPJ, would win the Crockett Cup. Knox and Murdoch would claim the victory in 2023. And then the year you and I were at the Crockett Cup, DK, the Southern Six pairing of Alex, Taylor, and Kerry Morton, they would win the Crockett Cup in your home state of Texas in Forney at the OC Theater. Later, lastly, Kratos and Odinson would win the Crockett Cup tournament and go on to win the NWA World Tag Team titles. Now, we do know this. The Crockett Cup has been announced returning to Forney, Texas. I believe it's April 4th. And but before we get to Forney, before we get to the actual tournament, I'm pretty sure there will be some play-in matches at the TV taping happening this Saturday, February 21st, in Tampa at the Power Station for the NWA. And I need to take this call real quick. So talk to the people a little bit about the history of the Crockett Cup.
Well, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, Jim Crockett Jr. decided to create an event to honor his father, Jim Crockett Sr., and came up with the Jim Crockett Sr. Memorial Cup, often shortened down to just the Crockett Cup. The first one was a good idea and a good concept. It was actually a joint event with the UFC and UWF, Universal Wrestling Federation, Bill Watts Group, and Jim Crockett Promotions. It was held in Louisiana. It did not draw overly well. If I remember correctly, it took place on one day, but in two different parts. So there was like an afternoon show and then an evening show. They had a lot of top tag teams. They did a deal with Pro Wrestling Illustrated, which was the top mark magazine at the time, where they did the seedings, and I think they seeded through 16. And there were a lot of top tag teams and some not top tag teams also that were involved. So, we always get complaints every year. Oh, well, those aren't real tag teams. Those aren't good tag teams or whatever. Yeah, they always had filler tag teams in it, even back in the first tournament. So, let's not be overcritical with that. As I always say, half of them are going to lose the first match, first match. And so you got to accept that every tournament works on the idea that half of them are going to lose their first match, which is why you always get people, why are they in the tournament? They're in the tournament to lose. And occasionally they might try to make a Cinderella out of one of them by giving them, 1 or 2 wins. But for the most part, the bad tag teams, who are they tag teams, are put in there to lose. And so I'm sure we'll have some of that. By the last year, they couldn't even fill out, I can't remember how many teams they did, 24, I think.
I'm not sure how many they had last year, to be quite honest with you.
Well, I don't know about last year. I think last year they had like 15 or 16 or something like that. But the first year they had 24. And by 88, I think they only had like 22 or something. That, they couldn't even fill with top tag teams anymore. So I always cut the NWA break on that when people start going, oh, they should have all these tag teams from all over here. And there's a certain reality in the world today.
And look, we all would like to see the best tag teams in the business show up for this, right? Like, it would be great, in my opinion, it would be great if the Hardy Boys were able to compete in this tournament. It'd be great if FTR could compete in this tournament, but the reality is, every one of those teams are under contract to a rival organization. It isn't likely that, Tony Khan's going to be like, well, hey, FTR, I have this, back and forth relationship with William Patrick Corgan, but go ahead and let me send you to compete for the Crockett Cup tournament. Or, hey, TNA Wrestling, I know the Hardy Boys are your tag team champions, and quite honestly, the biggest draw that the company has at the current time. Let me send you over to go work the NWA and risk potentially getting injured or something else so that you could prop up a tournament on your back. I just don't feel like that's the way that any wrestling promotion is going to go. You take the best of what you can get. And I think that's what the NWA has done.
I don't think the teams are that bad this year that I've seen so far.
Well, I
don't have any cringe ones. Who do you have as being in the tournament?
Okay, so I have graphics. I did some homework today.
Yay.
All right, so the first team in the tournament is Jack, pause for effect, and Eddie. You don't want to say that name too fast. It sounds like a verb as opposed to a tag team. Jack and Eddie are a tag team based out of Chicago. They've had a few appearances for NWA Chicago. I've seen them also competing in promotions in the Illinois area. So like they work together as they're called Grayson and Valor in a lot of places. They work for IHP. They work for CSW. The aforementioned NWA Chicago. They've worked together as a team up north in the top tier Canadian promotion. They've been in a few places, and I think if people aren't familiar with them now, they will be after this tournament. They get a lot of positive buzz about them. What is up, Jaden? How are you doing? Okay, we'll get back to Jaden momentarily. The other team there's been several teams. The other NWA Chicago-centric team would be the Hard Way. They are the NWA Chicago Tag Team Champions. It feels like this might be the biggest representation, the biggest territory that is being represented in this tournament would be Chicago, considering they have both Jack and Eddie, as well as the Hard Way, which is Jack Vaughn and Dalton McKenzie. A very solid tag team. They had a pretty decent showing at the last year's Crockett Cup. Jaden, are you with us now?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Okay, I don't know what happened. It wouldn't let me unmute.
It happens sometimes. So right now we're talking about the Crockett Cup. We've showed the first two teams that are basically representing the territory of Chicago because they are the number 1 and number 2 tag teams in Chicago. Then we also have The Pope and Mims, they made their official declaration last week that they are now a team. They'll be wrestling next week on Power, but they will be making their second effort into the Crockett Cup, the first one being, I think, back in 2022. Then also we have 2 champions in the tournament, but not tag team champions. The Wrestling Machines, your World Junior Heavyweight Champion and your National Champion, they will be a part of the tournament. Representing Duke City Championship Wrestling, the Duke City Championship Wrestling Tag Team Champions from NWA New Mexico. The Country Gentlemen will be a part of the tournament. And I say that tongue-in-cheek because I think they would have been a part of the tournament regardless of their standing with NWA New Mexico. Then the 2024 Crockett Cup tournament winners, the Southern Six, who actually won it in 24 in Forney, Texas. So I bet they're hoping to do it again too. Let's see. Also on the tournament, we have the U.S. Tag Team Champions, the Slime Balls. I'm sure everyone's excited to see the Slime Balls back in the tournament. They had a really good, strong outing last year in the 2025 Crockett Cup. We will also see the return of the Colognes, who made it to the finals last year in the Crockett Cup. So they're an extra added tag team that, I think could bring an interesting element to the tournament again this year. Of course, there is the, if the computer will load correctly, the 2025 tournament champions and the current NWA World Tag Team Champions, the Immortals, Odinson and Kratos, looking to go back-to-back in both Crockett Cups. And then the team that I think I'm most excited for, the team that I think I'm pulling for the most, and probably the most celebrated tag team outside of the NWA. They're former IWGP Tag Team Champions multiple times, former WWE Tag Team Champions, former TNA Tag Team Champions, and currently the Crash Tag Team Champions down there in Tijuana, Mexico. I'm speaking, of course, of Luke Gallows and Carl the Machine Gun Anderson, the Good Brothers, all a part of this year's Crockett Cup. I believe that's all of the teams announced, and that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I'm sure there's more teams, but there's at least 10 that have been announced.
I would think there'd be 16 the minimum, because if they're going through the first round, and then there's usually tournament goes 8-12, 8-4-2. Then we have one winner. So I would probably at least think at least 6 more tag teams.
Well,
think there'll be any surprises?
I'm sure there will be. I feel like, though, they're announcing 10 teams. There will probably be an 8-man or 8-team tournament. And then they will probably throw some of those teams that they've announced, as well as some unannounced teams, into a tag team battle royal that they've done a couple of times throughout the years. They did that last year with the David Crockett. I think they called it the David Crockett Wild Card or something to that nature, where they brought in several tag teams, and the team that won the battle royal would then immediately be inserted into the tournament. And then, the first Crockett Cup they did back in 2019 with Tom Latimer and Royce Isaacs winning that wild card battle royal and then being entered into the tournament. I wouldn't be surprised if that's something that they do this year. It just seems like that's kind of how they run it anyways.
Very likely. Either way, I'm sure we're not done yet. And I'm going to go on a limb. I want to go somebody who's right now. I'd like to see Dalton McKenzie and Jack Vaughn win.
That's a good choice too.
That's not my choice to win, but that's my long shot choice. Like, if anybody has a long shot, I think it should be them. And then if they don't win, I hope they at least get a win over the Slime Balls and maybe get a feud with the U.S. Tag Team Championships.
I mean, that's pretty solid. The U.S. tag titles up until recently were kind of an afterthought, and just last, I think, was it 2 weeks ago that they main evented an episode of Power, and so I don't know if those titles are going to be treated as a bigger deal in the NWA going forward. But what's really shocking to me, maybe a little bit disappointing, is, of the tournament, of the Crockett Cup tournament combatants, the people that are actually in the tournament, Chicago, like we've seen the hard way now, have a couple appearances on Power, but they're not typically regulars for Power. The team of Jack and Eddie, we haven't seen those guys at all on Power yet. They're a Chicago-based tag team. There are several tag teams within the NWA, but when it comes to, like, you've got wrestling machines, although they were solid at last year's Crockett Cup, I mean, really they should be focusing on defending the World Junior Heavyweight title and the National Championship. And you've got, the Colognes, who we seem to see only when it comes around Crockett Cup season. So I kind of wish there was more of a solid a tag team roster for the NWA. And with the U.S. tag titles, I don't know why, they're being featured as heavily as they are when, there's not really enough tag teams to support that.
There's barely enough tag teams to support the World Tag Team Championships, but
that's what I'm saying. Like there's barely enough to go around.
DK?
I was just saying the only reason we're hearing more about them now is because they're on the slime balls, and so they're kind of doing that story of Aaron Stevens manages the slime balls, but he doesn't want to manage the slime balls. So I don't know why he's managing the slime balls if he doesn't want to.
Yeah.
And so they call themselves the something of champions. And if I knew, it meant I paid attention to the promo, which I didn't.
Federation of Champions.
And so I'm kind of over Aaron Stevens at the moment. He needs to go scout talent far from the NWA for about 6-7 months. 7-8 months. 9 months. There we go. Let's go back something for my generation. I don't know. Of course, Carson Drake's talking about the world title, and listening to Carson Drake talking about the world title literally makes me constipated.
Real quick, our boy Matt says Devastation Reborn needs to be in this tournament, in some representation from Texas style wrestling and DPCW, Dog Pound Championship Wrestling. NWA did say Bear Malone is booked in the show. I would not be surprised if we do see some more tag teams from Texas. Again, I do think representation matters. You have these territories, and there are tag teams in the territories. I know Big Chris Dog was advocating on the message board for Exodus Pros TME. They're a solid tag team. I think they would be great in the tournament. Joe Kazana Promotions, by having the Kazana brothers in the tournament, I feel like you're good. You got representation there. But like, there's not like a tag team that I would say acknowledge that's from Crossfire Wrestling. They didn't put together Hunter and Tyson. It just is what it is. So,
do they have tag team champions in Crossfire?
I don't think they do, but they have had tag team matches. They do have, they've used in the past. Oh gosh, I forgot the Carnies. Kerry Awful, and I can't remember his partner's name right now.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about, at least.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, as a basic rule of thumb, if you're going to have a territory system and you're going to have a large tag team tournament, as a basic rule of thumb, it seems like you should, if your territories have tag team champions, include them. Now, I know there's money issues and all that fun stuff. Do I really want to pay to bring in somebody from New Mexico or however? But yeah, and again, we're having this problem of the tournament taking place one night in a different location, and couple of months after the opening round matches for the tournament take place. And so they should have somebody from Texas, but then you got to fly the Texas team out to Florida or get them to drive or whatever. So I don't know.
No, I mean that's a good point too. Like, the most expensive style of wrestling is tag team wrestling, because you're not just booking one guy, you're booking at least two guys, and travel is expensive, and of course they're in Texas, they're in Forney, which is not like it's not on the West Coast, or it's not exclusively on the East Coast, and Dallas Airport. I mean, they have two big airports in Dallas, and flights fly into Dallas like every day. So it's not like a crazy idea of getting teams to fly out, but it's expensive. And if
especially if they have to go to Florida first.
Not necessarily.
If they're going to be in the opening round, see, this is what I'm saying. They're having the opening round in Florida. So if you fly them out to Florida, that's one thing. But then if they win, which it would not surprise me if some of these Chicago-based teams and whatever don't, because then you got to fly them to, Dallas, or somebody does. And again, I'm using fly. They may just pay travel expenses. They may not fly them. They may say, run a car or drive a car or whatever, we'll reimburse you. But it's still an added expense no matter what, because you're at least going to be paying a hotel for them.
For sure. Yeah. Look, not that I'm an expert on any of this, but I do have some friends inside the business, and I have a friend who holds a camera, and he gets flown to shows as a camera operator. And I get it that that's a very important role within the company, but if they could pay to have a cameraman operator fly out to your event, I'm sure they could pay for a tag team wrestler or support house a wrestler as well. And that's the thing when it comes to the tag team. Yes, you're right, it does cost more money, but if they're flying in the ancillary talent that gets a wrestling show produced, to me, I don't think it would be very difficult or out of the question to fly in talent either into Florida or into Texas. I think that's a crazy.
Well, it's going to depend on cost, and then we can let Jaden chime in. But to fly a cameraman out or a camera crew out, who may all be based in one place, and you kind of get them, and they're not. I don't know how much they cost in relation to the talent, but if you're trying to fly out a top team,
yeah. And the price for booking them as well, again,
in teams, I guess I should say teams, because if you're trying to book teams from across the country, then that adds up. Jaden, what do you think?
I think as a television guy, it's better to have a television camera crew that you understand, that understands what you want and understands your director and has been easy to work with and knows how to do everything and knows how to be in and out of the way and has that experience is extremely important. So they're worth flying in. B, why don't they just put the Texas tag teams in the Battle Royal, which seems to happen on the at the Crockett Cup itself. So why don't they just put the Texas tag teams in? They don't have to fly them to Florida because they can wrestle on the Battle Royal part at the Forney section.
That's a fair point.
Yes, no?
Too. Yeah, no, I mean, Matthew says if they were smart, they would have one of the brackets be on the Texas style wrestling. I mean, that would really solve a big chunk of it. By having Texas style wrestling, which does operate right there at the OC Theater, they could totally do two sets of brackets, the Texas bracket and the Florida bracket, and have them meet at the Texas show with not necessarily, giving an advantage to one side or the other, but just having the preliminary matches happen in Texas and in Florida, and those matches that happened in Texas. You know, that it would be another way to pull the territory into the Power viewers and say like, hey, some of these matches are happening, you know, at TSW. You should check them out, and here's how you could watch it. I mean, I feel like that'd be a very autonomous style of showing that relationship within the territories. But again, that's not something we've seen the NWA do a lot of yet.
So, what else is going on, Jay?
Well, the idea was we're going to spend some time talking about the Crockett Cup, but I guess we could move forward and start talking about this week's episode of Power.
Is there any more to the Crockett Cup? Any more to talk about?
Well, so there is the TV tapings that are happening this Saturday, and I think that at the very least, you know, we're assuming that they're going to have some of these preliminary matches at the television tapings. There are back-to-back tapings on Saturday the 21st, the first show at 2 p.m., the second show at 7 p.m. And if it's in true fashion of the NWA, I would imagine these are 4-hour tapings. So they'll do like, you know, a month of TV tapings for the first show and then a month of TV tapings for the second show, which is a very long day if you are a competitor at the TV tapings. I mean, that's a real long day. As someone who goes to a lot of the Championship Wrestling television tapings in Irvine, you know, that's like a 3.5-4 hour day, and they start filming at 7, and that usually goes to about 11 o'clock at night. I feel like that you're asking a lot to have your talent ready to go for, what is that, like a 12-hour day, 16-hour day?
Yeah, they're professionals. They can handle it.
Love it. All right, moving on. Hey, you know, can we talk a little bit about what the United Wrestling Network is doing? Would you guys be all right with that? You don't know who the United Wrestling Network is?
Pretend I don't.
Well, first of all, United Wrestling Network is probably one of the top television wrestling promotions in the United States. I feel like I could say that with at least some certainty. They do run television in a couple of different markets. Their programming is usually on Gray Bar Media, which is like a television network, not unlike Sinclair Broadcasting. So they have TV stations all over the United States. Oddly enough, not one in Southern California, which means that we can't watch the show that they film here in Irvine and also in the
other place.
Yeah, the other place. I can't remember what the other city's called right now. It's not Santa Paula. Oxnard. There it is. So we can't even see the show that's filmed in Irvine and Oxnard on television. But they do have relationships with Memphis Wrestling. That's the sister promotion, although you wouldn't know it by watching Memphis. They also have a promotion in Gotham, or excuse me, a promotion in New York. I think it's Long Island, New York, or upstate New York. No, I'm not talking right now. Let me try that again. I believe it is in Long Island, New York, or near Long Island, New York, West Nyack. And I guess, I mean, Jaden, do you have any reference of where West Nyack is to Long Island?
Yeah, it's in New York.
There we go. That was very Bobby the Brain of you, by the way.
Thank you. I tried.
So yeah, Gotham Wrestling, that's the newest promotion with the United Wrestling Network. And I don't know that they have an actual TV station for that yet, but both of those shows are available to watch on YouTube. And like I said, some of the program is on the Gray Bar Media as well. But what they announced, what they've been working on for quite some time, is a live television event. They're going back to Thunder Studios, which was the home of the original Primetime Live series that blended the NWA with the United Wrestling Network, that gave us the Mike Bennett versus Nick Aldis masterpiece. It also gave us the match between Gigi Dolan, a.k.a. God, I'm so bad with names today. What was her name before? Doesn't matter. She took on Thunder Rosa, who was at the time the NWA Women's World Champion.
Was it Priscilla Kelly?
Yes, thank you, Priscilla Kelly. Thank you. I don't know. I don't feel like my brain is firing on all cylinders today. So they did have that relationship with the NWA for a short time. Obviously, things have soured since then, but the NWA has had a strong, the United Wrestling Network has had a strong relationship with talents like Alexander Hammerstone, who is a former West Coast Pro Wrestling heavyweight champion. They've had a relationship with Richard Holiday. Both of those gentlemen will be appearing at this live event that they're filming on March 8th. And I say filming, but it is going to be live. It's going to be available on the Roku app on a new channel called Adrenaline Plus. It'll be on YouTube at the same thing on Adrenaline Plus, the YouTube channel. And they're going to be doing this, I believe. Yeah, I didn't get all the details. I was supposed to have a sit down with Marquez this past Tuesday, but unfortunately he was busy. I was busy, didn't get an opportunity to speak to him, but on March 8th, I will be there in Long Beach. I will get more details, and we will talk about that very, very soon. DK, since Jaden left, how do you feel about the NWA? How do you feel about the United Wrestling Network being able to go live on such places like YouTube and Roku and really kind of basically creating like a pay-per-view that the NWA doesn't?
Well, the NWA does have a thing on Roku, but the whole live thing, I think, is a good thing because I know I'm less likely to watch. I'm more likely to watch TV recorded than I am any kind of premium live event, pay-per-view, whatever they call them nowadays, signature live event. But I'm not, for some reason, I'm not willing to watch a signature live event live, or I'm very less likely to watch it live, even if like I miss, say, the Royal Rumble or WrestleMania, chances are I ain't going to watch it.
Yeah, I feel like that too sometimes.
So yeah, I think I like that idea. Hopefully they can make some money do it and continue to do it and help the company grow.
Well, I guess part of it too is that it's the Adrenaline Plus is one of those FAST channels, which I'm not super familiar with, but I guess it's an advertised it's a premium channel that's free because of advertising content. And I know Matthew Underwood is very familiar with the FAST, and if he was in the chat right now, I'm sure he would tell us what exactly it means. But basically, it's free content because it's supported by advertising. Does that make sense? Am I saying it right?
It's probably free advertising supported television.
Something like that. At the very least, I feel like you're close. You're close if you're not dead on.
That sounds like a very old-fashioned thing they used to do with the networks.
Yeah, where you would watch TV for free. Well, and that's the thing. Like, we've gotten away from that so much over the last few years because streaming platforms and the rise of Netflix and Disney Plus and Paramount Plus and Hulu and HBO Max, where it's all become subscription based. Which is crazy to me is that I pay a subscription to watch Netflix or Disney Plus, and I still have to deal with commercials from time to time. Platforms that are free, but also are supported by advertising, similar to the way network television works, I think is a fine model. Like we're paying for we're paying for streams that feature advertising anyways. I would love to be able to just watch programming and not have to pay for it. And if that means watching an advertisement to do so, I think I'm okay with that.
Cool.
What about you, DK? How do you feel about the FAST model?
Sorry, someone's talking to me. I mean, I'm kind of one of those people that it seems like it should either be free and commercial supported, or I should pay and not have commercials.
I agree.
I don't like the mix that so many streaming services have gone to.
I agree.
A lot of these streaming services don't make way more money with the advertising supported ones than they do with the paid subscription. So That's may be a thing back in. It's going to be funny if it comes full circle and all the streaming television now is going to be free. You just have to watch ads.
That's probably what's going to happen.
If only they could take that same streaming service and just put it over some kind of signal to go everywhere and let everybody watch it for free.
Yeah, now you're talking. Let's go. Let's do it. Yeah. Sorry. I might I think I might have lost my mind today. I think that's where it is right now. I think I'm just a little out of it.
I think I'm losing my mind this time. This time I'm losing my mind. That's right. I think I'm losing my mind this time. This time I'm losing my mind.
Yeah.
Anyway, speaking of free television that sometimes has commercials, but I haven't had to watch any. Let's talk about Power.
Power. I have notes. I took detailed notes. We're gonna talk about Power.
Semi-watched. Just heads up.
You semi-watched. Well, that's, you know what? Look,
Yeah.
Semi-watch is better than what you used to do. You used to not watch at all, so I'll take it.
Yeah.
I ain't got no problem with semi-watching. So this episode was NWA Power Season 26, Episode 8, titled Run It Back. Obviously, Run It Back for the world title match that we were supposed to see at Saw Win, a rematch of the match that happened at the 77th anniversary show. The main event of this TV show, this episode of Power, was going to be Tom Latimer challenging for the 10 pounds of gold. So I was very excited to see that match. A big fan of Tom Latimer here at the Alliance blog. Big fan of the world heavyweight champion, Thrillbilly Silas Mason. And I was expecting big things from that match. We'll get into all of it just momentarily. But the show starts off with that promo package. Now, this is not new material. It's not anything that we haven't already seen. But the build for the match between Tom and Silas Mason, it did have kind of a big game feel to it. It's kind of, we say it all the time. Oh man, I wish the 10 pounds of gold series was still around, because I feel like, especially with a matchup like this, Tom being a former champion, Silas Mason the current champion, there's not much time that is separating one champion from the other. I feel like they could have benefited from a more drawn out program with more promos and more vignettes and more training sessions and more storyline built up to this. But what we get here to start the show off, it's not bad. It's just something we've already seen before. But I feel like it did work. And if this was your first time tuning into Power, you kind of have a good idea of where the show is heading and what the 10 pounds of gold means to both men. Do you guys agree, disagree? What do you think? Start with you first, DKM, even though you're muted.
I'm opposed to thinking.
All right.
But, yeah, I mean, it was a good start. I'm going to be honest. I don't pay a lot of attention to the things after I've seen them the first time. And even if they're close enough. Hey, Jay, your mic has got some feedback.
Sorry about that.
And I know that because the computer called it. But anyway, my point is that it's a good thing to have for people who may be joining the show, but I don't pay a lot of attention to it. So it's good for it serves its purpose. I'm not opposed to it.
Yeah. Jaden, did you see the segment? Did you have any thoughts on it?
It was playing in the background. I didn't pay enough attention to it to realize it was already on. So it was fine for what I was listening, what I could hear, but I wasn't paying a lot of attention to it.
Got it. Okay, well then that takes us to the first match of the night. We get Alex Taylor versus Damian Fenrir. Now, clearly, Alex Taylor has been in a bit of a spiral as of late, losing the World Junior Heavyweight Championship to Spencer Slade at the Saw Win Signature Live event, and Damian Fenrir also having some issues too. Oh, we've just Jaden dropped out. Jaden's back. Damian Fenrir has had difficulty getting some positive momentum as well. He did win the King B series to get that World Junior Heavyweight title shot, but then wasn't able to keep it, wasn't able to win the title. He faced Alex Taylor before, and it just didn't pan out. Can you guys hear me? Is there still feedback?
No more feedback. I can hear you, DK.
Yeah, you're good at the moment.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I just saw your message on the private, and I didn't realize. Okay, so my first note on this match was a Gator Roll in 2026. It was a very interesting way to start the match. Alex Taylor has been more known for being a ground and pound kind of wrestler, more of a mat technician, if you will, whereas Damian Fenrir typically is more of a high-risk style wrestler. You'll see a lot of like drop kicks and more high-flying kind of arsenal in his weaponry. But Fenrir starts off showing some mat wrestling, so it looks like he's learned a few new tricks since his time last time fighting Alex Taylor. I need a drink of water. Excuse me real quick. Sorry.
You should have said it's to drink some Dubby.
You know, I should have made myself some Dubby because that probably would have helped me with my what is it? The neuro. What was it, Jane? I can never say it correctly.
The neurofactor would definitely be able to help you with your brain power right now, and you also have some caffeine without the jitters.
No jitters, and I'm drinking Coca-Cola right now, which is giving me plenty of jitters. And
later, I'll give you the shitters.
Yeah, it's the zero sugar. It's the Coca-Cola sin azúcar. The match spills into the outside after Fenrir drop kicks Taylor. He also delivers another drop kick to the outside. And Taylor takes advantage once they do get on the outside. He connects with a snapmare neck snap combo that would make Curt Hennig proud once they did get in the ring. Watching Taylor wrestle, I feel like he's a lot more talented than maybe we even realize. I see the maneuvers that he does in the ring. I feel like he's very old school, but not like stuck in the past. He just likes to keep it more grounded style of wrestling. And when he did connect with that snapmare neck snap combination, again, I got Mr. Perfect vibes. And I've never thought of Alex Taylor as a technical wrestler, but just watching him in the ring and slowing things down and kind of keeping the match grounded, that's kind of a hallmark of most of his matches. And he usually, when he tries to deviate from that plan, is usually when things fall apart for him. In this match, AT missed a dive into the corner. And I'm not even sure what kind of dive he was trying to do. It maybe like a monkey flip out of the corner. I don't know, but he ended up, going crotch first into the ring, into the
Turnbuckle.
Turnbuckle. Thank you. It's like the ring pad. No, that's not right. That's when Fenrir started to connect with some offense. He had clotheslines, and he has a very pretty drop kick. I said Curt Hennig with the snapmare neck snap, but the drop kick, Curt Hennig had a beautiful drop kick, and Fenrir's drop kick is equally pretty. There was a sunset flip that it looked like might put away Fenrir. Alex Taylor was able to pull out a sunset flip and almost looked like he was going to steal the victory, but Fenrir just dropped down, countering the flip and getting the 1-2-3. Kind of a surprising defeat for Alex Taylor. I was really anticipating something more for him in this matchup, but taking the loss to Fenrir, who I could see why the NWA would want to push a guy like Fenrir. I think that he has a big future ahead of him, and hopefully this is step one in his, push forward in the NWA. The post-match had Alex Taylor in the ring with Kyle Davis, and he started making excuses. I'm hungover. I just got married. This is BS. It was kind of a comical way to cop out to the loss, but all in all, I thought this was a pretty decent match. I wouldn't say it was a great match, maybe a decent to good match, but I did enjoy it. We'll go to you first, Jane. What did you think of Alex Taylor versus Damian Fenrir?
I actually did sit down and watch this one. They're familiar with each other, so the story plays probably well. It's not the first time they wrestled, so Fenrir did something different and maybe did some homework and did some research and realized what Alex Taylor does and was able to capitalize on it. I think that's a good story if they play that up. Also, everybody thinks of the cruiserweights. They always think of the luchadors, but don't forget, there's still Dean Malenko's out there
That's for
that
sure.
were able to wrestle extremely well and still be incredibly entertaining. So I enjoyed this match. It was a wrestling match, and I enjoyed it. I think Fenrir's got a bright future on him. So bright he has to wear shades. And I like this match. I think Fenrir is maybe being built up for a nice feud with another ground-based grappling wrestler that we like in Spencer Slade. And I think that'll be something that I could see in the future.
Yeah, for
What
sure.
about you, DK? I know this is probably up your alley, DK.
Yeah, I enjoyed the match. Thought it was good, and I did get the sense that they're probably grooming Fenrir for Slade, and I think that could be a good match to look at. My only criticism I'm going to have, it has nothing to do with the match itself, but if you paid attention to social media and some of the build-up for it, they kind of gave the results away.
Yeah, because they were kind of making excuses for Alex Taylor before the match even started, mentioning that he recently got married.
One in particular that I saw was something to the effect of, Alex Taylor trying to, build himself back up after the thing. And then I don't remember the exact wordage, but it was almost something to the effect, but that doesn't necessarily happen with Alex. It implied he lost or that he was going to lose, and that they were starting the former champion loses confidence and can't, is struggling to win. It's a tale as old a time in wrestling. So, I mean, I don't have an issue with that, but some of their social media posts basically outed that Taylor was going to lose, I guess would be the correct way of saying it.
Real quick, sorry to interrupt you, but I do want to acknowledge our TikTok viewers as well. I want to say his name right. Chacho Time says, everything is high flying now. I do miss technical wrestling. This was a very technical wrestling match, and I think that's what I liked about it. I do like flying super heavyweight, flying junior heavyweights. I do like Lucha Libre. In fact, Saturday or Friday night, I'll be down in Tijuana again at the Crash watching a lot of high flying luchadores. But I feel like there is room for both. And when you do get something a little bit out of the ordinary, I think that's something special. So I'm sorry, DK, you can finish your thought. I just want to throw that out there.
Well, now, but just to finish up on that thought that you're talking about, this is definitely more my style of wrestling, what I enjoy. And so, I was pretty entertained by it. I enjoyed it. I'm not going to say, oh, man, it was great and the best thing ever. But, I enjoyed it.
I appreciate you, Chacho. Thanks for hanging out with us. We're talking about the NWA. This is the Alliance Guys live stream podcast, a presentation of alliance-wrestling.com. Your number one source for news and information for the National Wrestling Alliance. My name is Jay Cal. The gentlemen with me are Jaden and DKM. Jaden, you could tell with the dog logo as his avatar, and the one and only DKM with the IHWE logo, the respective wrestling companies that these gentlemen work with and work for, respectively. So I just want to reintroduce ourselves in case if this is their first time watching us. We do this live stream every Thursday it's 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific. We stream simultaneously on YouTube, Twitch, and also on TikTok. So if you're enjoying what you're watching, give us a follow, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And we're just talking about this week's NWA Power episode with, of course, the first match, Alex Taylor taking I guess what I'd call an upset. I don't know if you guys would say the same thing, to Damian Fenrir. Simultaneously after that, we get the Silas Mason promo, and I like this one. I like all of Silas Mason's promos. The Thrillbilly is gold on the mic, but he said, "The sands of time are counting, Tom Latimer," and I'm the one counting those grains, and I'll bury you in that ring. And just the way he says it and the conviction that Thrillbilly has when he's speaking. I mean, what was it? Johnny Valentine once said, like, I can't convince you wrestling is real, but I can convince you that I'm real. I'm sure I butchered that, but that's exactly how I feel when I'm listening to a Thrillbilly Silas Mason promo.
Yeah, it was like, I can't make you believe wrestling is real, but I can make you believe I am.
And every time I see Thrillbilly cut a promo, I mean, look, I feel like he is super charismatic, and I feel like he is very much. I don't think there's much difference between Silas Mason and the Thrillbilly character. I think they're pretty much the same person. And we've had him on this live stream. We've had him on this podcast. And I don't know that there is a difference. But this promo, I enjoyed it, and I thought it sets up the title match very well. Jaden, did you get to see this one?
I was on in the background while I was doing stuff.
DK? You're muted, DK.
DK.
All right, we'll move on. Next up was the.
Sorry, I was getting drugs.
You had enough for everyone. Next up was the Bit Crush segment, and I think you need drugs to enjoy these segments. I initially saw this on
I
Facebook.
didn't watch it. I just want to put that out there right now.
Well, I won't ask you guys what you thought. I'll just give you my, opinion on. I initially watched this on Facebook. Before I saw this week's episode of Power, they do post a lot of the vignettes on their social medias, so I did get to see this before I actually watched the show. And look, I like Billy Trask as a director. I don't necessarily need him as an on-air personality. I don't quite understand why a wrestler is going to a GameStop-esque place to get advice on wrestling from somebody who is clearly not an active professional wrestler. Billy Trask is 5'4". Billy Trask is not a big guy. And now I know he did train to be a pro wrestler. Initially, that's what he wanted to do, was to be a pro wrestler. I know this. But I don't want him telling wrestlers how to wrestle, how to get over. If he was the director of the show telling them how to get over, then that would be a heck of a lot more believable than a guy working at GameStop. And a couple months ago, Jaden suggested this, and now I'm in. I fully endorse this sentiment. These segments are throwing shade at us. They have to be, right? They have to be. You look behind my desk, you'll see action figures, Legos, pro wrestling, replica title belts. Like, look, I am that Mark. I don't hide that. I'm not anybody outside of this podcast. I'm just a regular wrestling fan like most of you. I just have a microphone that I speak into. And when Daisy Kill legitimately says, do what you do best, churn on the TV and watch the show. Like, I feel like that was a message, direct, cut, line, print, sync, whatever, directly aimed at me, aimed at you, aimed at this live stream. And do we really have real estate in their head? What do you guys think?
What if we could charge rent?
$5. What, DK, do you think that they're taking shots at us?
If they are, they're wasting their time, since most of us don't pay attention to it. Yeah, I think they're taking shots in general, and we probably personify the attitude that Billy and Dave Lagana, the Chook brothers, have had since the beginning. That people think we don't know what we're doing. People think we can't do this. People don't think we're doing it good. And yeah, you have your fans and you are drawing and things, and I'll give you credit for that. But let's also be honest, your last few Signature Live events weren't sellouts. And I don't know. I was going to ask this question either later tonight if we had time, or maybe next week, but maybe it fits in here, which is, has Billy done all he can do with the NWA at this point? I don't really see it doing anything else. I don't see it going anywhere else. I don't see it becoming a bigger thing than it currently is, unless there's some drastic changes. And I don't see that there's going to be some drastic changes, because I think Billy's a little bit like Tony Khan in the sense that, he thinks what he's doing either is or will work. I mean, that you're doing better than Bruce Thorpe did at the end of his reign, not a high bar.
I love that idea. Let's put a pin in that and talk about that next week, because I do feel like that's worthy of exploring, and I'd like to take some time with it, because I feel like we'd be rushing through it right now. So let's put a pin in that, and we'll talk about that next week. That'll be the meat and potatoes of the live stream for next week. Let's go back through Power. Let's get through this week's NWA Power. Like we said, the Alex Taylor match was good. The Silas Mason promo was good. The Bit Crush segment, I could do without those. Then we get the Aaron Stevens Federation of Champions. It's very interesting because it starts off with Carson, the Wrestling Machines, and Lockjaw, with Aaron Stevens kind of seated below them. And Stevens starts talking only to allow Carson Drake to basically declare, make his case for an opportunity at the 10 pounds of gold. That's where he's headed. We now have some direction of where we know Carson Drake is. I mean, I guess we've kind of assumed it, but was he going to go back for the national title, or back to the TV title, or was he going to go for the national title? He's making his intentions clear. He wants the NWA World's Heavyweight Championship. So now we know that. Then, of course, the national champion and the junior heavyweight champion, the Wrestling Machines, Spencer Slade and Mike Mondo, solid tag team. They're getting ready to cut their 2 cents on what's happening. And then the Slime Balls interrupt. The Slime Balls are the U.S. Tag Team Champions. And they said, well, wait, we're part of this too. And Aaron Stevens says, no, you're not a part of it. You are the Federation of the Champions and the Slime Balls. You're not part of the stable, which is kind of interesting because they've been basically Carson Drake's henchmen, and by virtue of being connected to Carson Drake, Aaron Stevens' henchmen, and the boys from Slime City, make the case that, hey, we're champions and we won last week. We beat the Country Gentlemen. It just added to the silliness of that moment, and I'm okay with Slime Balls being silly. I won't take them serious anyways. So for them to be the comic relief in this moment, I was fine with it. Carson Drake saying, like, hey, do you know what time it is? And then Mike Mondo saying it's gut check time, just kind of made me pop a little bit because I'm a big Mike Mondo guy. So did either one of you guys see this segment?
Again, it was on in the background. I was paying attention when Mondo was talking, and I kind of went away with the rest. DK?
Oddly, I did watch it.
Thoughts?
I don't really know why I watched it, but I did watch it.
Sure.
Slade and Mondo are the only parts that I cared about. The idea of Carson Drake going for the world title, like I said, just causes my stomach to stop. I don't care about the Slime Balls. I understand they have a place, and that historically there have been the comic relief characters.
Sure.
Now I will say that some of the comic relief characters were at one time, actually top guys. Anyway, your Bugsy McGraw, your Jimmy Valiant, your oh God, I was just thinking of him. Of course, now I I don't remember off the top of my head. But anyway, but there have been other guys that have. Mike Davis, who by the end of his career was, doing a lot of comedy stuff, and yeah, that's not the slime balls. Slime balls are just
Right?
What happened?
That's what the slime balls are.
He got so mad he just dropped off.
he kicked me off. I'm not gonna complain about this system, but it has a habit of just kicking people off.
So
Yeah.
the old software, the old program that we used to use was a lot more
Robust.
I just feel like it was more intuitive and more user friendly. But then they like tripled the price on me, and I'm like, nope, we'll go ahead and find something else. And yeah, the good people of Restream, if you want to give us some sponsorship money, we'll be happy to take it. But until then, improve your product, please. Did you want to finish up your sentiments on the promo?
What was the last thing you heard?
The slime balls are, and then you left.
Yeah.
The slime balls are just modern day Mulkeys, but they have a little bit of, more personality. Mulkeys are bland looking and bland personality wise. So overall, if you cut out everything that wasn't Mike Mondo or Slade, it would have been a great promo.
Oh,
You mean, yeah.
The way you said that, my brain was not understanding. I'm like, wait, you want to cut everything out that was Slade and Mike Mondo? No, you said something different. Okay.
No, cut out everything that wasn't Slade or Mike Mondo.
I understand now. I don't disagree. Look, nothing was offensive. Like, this isn't the Bit Crush segment. It wasn't offensive, but again, I feel like they could have, they hit everything they needed to, right? Like you had Carson Drake kind of tell you that he's going after the 10 pounds of gold. So it's foreshadowing what he will be doing in the ring. He's not going after the loss. He has no concern about the loss anymore. It gives the slime balls an opportunity just to be on camera. And then it tells the wrestling machines, they're getting ready for their matchup with Legursky and JAC. So it did what it needed to do, but sometimes, they don't always hit. Next up, we get Daisy Kill in the ring with Kyle Davis. Second time we saw Davis in the ring this week. Daisy, and now it dropped Jaden.
See, it just doesn't like us. I think this might be owned by Billy. That might be what the problem is.
Could be. There we go. Now we have Jaden. Jaden has joined the stream. All right. So that was
again.
Yeah. And this time I wasn't even touching anything, so I don't know what the heck happened. But we get Daisy Kill with Kyle. Daisy is trying to get the crowd fired up. And you kind of feel like, oh, maybe we got a babyface Daisy Kill now? Because he's Tampa, I didn't hear you. Are you ready to watch some wrestling? And the fans are getting all fired up. And then he just runs down the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which good heel move. But then that kind of confuses.
I don't know. Considering the way they play, that may have been a face move.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair. But then it kind of confuses the issue because, the person to answer his Daisy's, what did I call it? Amazing reign of terror. Daisy's reign of terror. Basically open challenge. The first person to answer, it's Kerry Morton. So now we have that heel on heel dynamic, which again, for whatever reason, that's something that Billy really enjoys, but it kind of, the fans are feeling conflicted, right? Because you just had Daisy Kill kind of run down the Tampa crowd, and then you bring Kerry Morton out, who the fans are booing him, and some girl in the front row still gives a kiss on the cheek. I'm like, what's going on here? Anyways, Kerry Morton answers the challenge. And I'm looking at these two guys, and I'm thinking, like, this would be a great TV title match. I kind of wish that one of these guys had the TV title. Like, this would be interesting to me because I feel like on paper this is a pretty good matchup. sure they're both heels, but I feel like we could see something interesting between these two, and it's not something that we really got from them. Taylor does some solid mat wrestling to, I said Taylor, that's supposed to be Daisy. Daisy does some solid, no, that's supposed to be Kerry. Kerry does some solid mat wrestling in the beginning of the match. You have the heel versus heel. Oddly enough, Kerry goes for a gator roll. I haven't seen a gator roll on TV in probably 10 years. And in one night, I see it twice on the same episode of Power. And Jaden got kicked off again. What the heck? Wait. That's not supposed to be what's on the... I see what
I'm still here.
What happened is it pulled up your local video, and it changed the screen to the video that we'll be talking about later. Anyways, so again, I haven't seen a gator roll in like 10 years on an actual wrestling show, but we saw it twice in the same night. Maybe they got boys in the back should talk about their move sets before they get out there and wrestle, because I don't feel like it's so rare to see it that it kind of makes it less special when two people do it on the same night. Kerry's really showcasing his mat wrestling skills. He's going move for move with Daisy. It doesn't seem like Daisy's getting any positive momentum. Kerry connects with a Tully special. I used to just call that a slingshot suplex, but I guess it's the Tully special in the NWA. Daisy Kill unleashes some of the softest looking martial arts kicks I've ever seen. The announcers are putting him over as a mixed martial artist or trained karate person, and I just felt like, man, those kicks look soft and weak. Anyways, the fans are starting to get behind Daisy Kill. He's starting to get fired up with Kerry. He gets Kerry's on the top rope. Daisy gets him off the rope and is holding him on the shoulders. And you're wondering, like, what's going to happen? Is he going to do the electric chair drop, or is he just going to fall back on him? No, what he does is basically get rolled up in a victory roll by Kerry Morton, which gets him the 1, 2, 3. I wasn't expecting the match to end that way. I almost felt like maybe there was a botch or something. Jaden, did you watch this match, and what did you think about it?
I was somewhat paying attention to it. I was doing multiple things at the time. It's the heel versus heel dynamic. I like both wrestlers, but I just don't like this matchup. I just don't like the whole heel thing that Billy likes to do. And for some reason, I did not think Daisy was going to win. I think the way they set it up is they set up this whole thing for him to lose. It seems like, again, it's not smart, but it seemed like they were telegraphing it, in my opinion.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me why you would put all of the work into putting over Daisy Kill. We got a what is it called? The Bit Squad or whatever it is. The
8-bit idiots.
Yeah, the Bit Crush is what they call it. We had the Bit Crush video segment and them firing up Daisy Kill to do this, and then he gets out there with Kyle Davis, and Kyle Davis and him are getting the crowd up and ready for it. So you're expecting, like, hey, this is maybe the next step, this next evolutionary step in the career that is Daisy Kill. His tag team partner is having great success in All Japan Pro Wrestling right now, one half of the All Japan Pro Wrestling Tag Team Champions, and Daisy Kill's in the NWA floundering. They have not really figured out much to do with him, and it just seems to me, it's like, well, clearly there is a missed opportunity here. Clearly they need to be doing something with Daisy Kill, and this is the way to introduce it. You've got it. And then what we get is a loss for Daisy Kill. So, sorry, I think I started talking over you. I apologize, Jaden. Go ahead.
I remember. It was just, I don't know. I like both wrestlers. I just don't think they're pushing Daisy Kill right. I don't think they have any idea. And it's almost like they're punishing him because we like him.
Maybe.
But sometimes I don't know. Normally, I wouldn't be into that whole little conspiracy thing, but the NWA does weird shit like that. So, maybe.
Hey, I need to step away for just a minute. Excuse me for just a moment. You guys continue to talk about Wrecking Ball Legursky and the wrestling machines. I'll be right back.
Hey, What about me?
Real quick.
What about
Yeah.
Mike?
What did you think, Mondo? DK Mondo. What did you think about the Daisy Kill match with Kerry Morton?
Well, I think this is a perfect example of doing everything wrong. The wrong person won. It was heel versus heel. And if you want to know how I know the wrong person won, go back and watch and pay no attention to anything going on in the ring. Watch the crowd. They absolutely did not care that Kerry Morton won. They weren't booing. They weren't cheering. And an apathetic crowd, Jaden, is that not the worst crowd?
Yeah. Silence, apathy is pretty bad. And that's, again, I partially blame the fact that it was heel versus heel and neither wrestler was trying to actually work to the crowd to get something out of it or to make it so the crowd could enjoy it. It was just an okay match, but it wasn't, it didn't have that dynamic. And that's the problem with heel versus heel. When it's extremely rare and has a reason, it could work, but it has to have like 10,000 things go right. Otherwise, it's just so much easier to have a heel versus babyface and do it the right way, in my opinion.
Look, the only time heel versus heel works is when you do things like the Freebirds and Devastation Incorporated in Texas. When it's like we got to put some time and some breath, somewhere besides Freebirds Von Erich, because that's starting to get stale. So, you put the Freebirds and Devastation Inc. In a program together. Well, when you do that, the Freebirds are the fan favorites and the Devastation Inc. are the ultra heels. And so you can get something out of that. But just in general, if Tony Khan's weakness is face versus face, Billy's is heel versus heel. And then here's even the sadder part. It was two heels, but how much healing, if you understand what I'm saying by that, how much healing did they do in the match? Because I don't remember much.
Yeah, again, I think it's two poorly defined roles in a match that was not meant to happen. I would have rather seen maybe Fenrir versus Kerry Morton and Daisy Kill against anybody else. I don't even know. Just there could have been a better way to do this, in my opinion. So I just didn't like it, sir.
Yeah, I didn't even necessarily have the biggest trouble with the matchup if they either would have defined a face or a heel, at least for the match itself. If one guy had done heel moves while the other guy did more face stuff, I could have handled that. But it was just like it's like they were both heels, but neither one of them were really wrestling as heels. And the crowd didn't care. They were, like I said, go watch the end. You'll see a lot of people just kind of looking around. Maybe one person clapping or something like that. Nobody cared Kerry Morton won. And then
we do. Get DK.
Oh, and then Kerry Morton was out and celebrating the crowd according to the announcers, and it's just like celebrating the crowd. The crowd doesn't care. I mean, that he could even be in the crowd would be a bad thing. It's just, I don't know. It was a great, again, the wrong guy won, and it was a great way to get two people under.
Under is the key spot, right?
Welcome back from your poop break.
It wasn't poop.
Welcome back from your pee break.
It wasn't pee.
It was.
I'm not going to talk about the other stuff. So
it was a number 3.
It's always a number 3. When you're J Cal Daddy, it's always number 3.
Okay.
Without getting into too many details, my wife is in the hospital right now. She had a procedure done, and yeah, she's okay, but she went in the hospital yesterday, so everything's cool. She's gonna be fine, but she I hadn't talked to her all day, and I actually got a phone call at like 4:00 that she's okay, but like I hadn't heard from her since 8 this morning. So the kids hadn't talked to her, so I had to go run and let the kids talk to my wife because I hadn't talked to her all day.
Harry?
Yeah, but don't tell all the girls that are watching right now.
Okay. He's not.
Everybody knew Kevin Owens is married with children, though.
Oh, you son of a bitch.
Son of a bitch.
All right, Santino.
Okay, so we were talking. Did you? Where did you guys get to? Did we talk about?
We were just finishing up the main event.
No, I was just giving my opinion on the Kerry Morton Daisy kill.
Oh, good. Then I didn't miss a whole lot.
Watch it.
No, I'm saying I didn't. You guys didn't get into the next match. That wasn't degrading you. I was just saying I didn't miss a whole lot.
Sure.
All I missed was your opinion, and for that I'm sorry. Double D over in on YouTube says, Wrecking Ball Lugerski has become a top 5 act to watch for me. He faced Don Freeze up here in New York like a week ago, and it was phenomenal. We know that Wrecking Ball Lugerski has a huge following in the Northeast. You know, Rick Del Santos talked about it when he's done matches for I think it's PWP Alley. I think that's what it's called. And then he's done events with Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators, and he's always gets a great reaction, whether it be at the University of Rowan or some of the other events that they have out there in South Jersey. Wrecking Ball Lugerski has got a positive reaction almost everywhere he goes. When we watched him, Jaden and myself watched him at this year's Crockett Cup. His match with Bradley got huge reactions every time he shows up. We get Wrecking Ball Lugerski and see how over he is. And when they're in Tampa, he's still over. They did a promo before this match, and it's him and JAC. And he was talking. He kind of went through it all, said that the fixers were broken, not just physically but also mentally. And it almost sounds like he was offering JAC a spot in this new group, the new fixers, that they're all American, and everyone falls to the Wrecking Ball. That was a nice little promo. Did either one of you watch it?
No.
Okay.
I don't like Jack. I like Wrecking Ball, but that's something Jack doesn't do it for me, dog. He's too pitchy.
DK?
It was kind of my Jaden moment. I was doing something else and it was on. I didn't pay a lot of attention to it.
All good. It was mostly Wrecking Ball anyways, but I hear you. Then we had Murdoch on Tyler Stevens, who basically said, look, I don't even know who this guy is, but every once in a while, one of these young pups come in to face an old dog, and you got to show him who's boss. And Knox goes, hey, do you want me out there with you? And Murdoch's like, no, I'm good. It was kind of like a way to throw him under the bus without really saying anything too bad. Then we got the Lost promo where Misery essentially says that he's not finished with Aaron Stevens. He's not finished with the Federation of Champions, and I'm sure that they're going to be building more to that rivalry with the Lost and Federation of Champions. Next up is the match, Lugerski and JAC versus the Wrestling Machines. The World Junior Heavyweight Champion starts the match off first by eating the punishment from Wrecking Ball Lugerski and then from JAC. And at one point during this match, JAC was eating up both Mondo and Slade. He's throwing them. He's just lifting them up out of the sky. He was really kind of a one-man wrecking crew for a moment. Things tend to change when Slade connected with this killer belly-to-back suplex. And then Mondo and Slade and then Mondo and Slade used their teamwork, their speed, their agility against the bigger JAC, and were able to cut the ring off. So not only were they able to keep Wrecking Ball Lugerski on the outside, but were also able to use teamwork to put some offense on JAC. The Machines were in total control of the match until Lugerski gets that hot tag from JAC. They
And
even
he came in like a wrecking ball.
He's shit.
Was Miley there?
No, she's at the Hannah Montana 20-year anniversary show. A blind tag gives the machines the advantage. Mondo tags in Slade and takes advantage of Wrecking Ball Legursky. And then the interesting thing happens is they knock Legursky outside of the ring, and then JAC runs in, and then Mondo connects with the gut check on JAC to get the pinfall, but he wasn't the legal man. Wrecking Ball Legursky was. There was no tag to make JAC the legal man, and the referee really screwed this one up. So I don't know what happened here. Maybe they just decided to roll with it so that Legursky didn't take the loss. But I feel like this was, just kind of a sign of bad booking when the referee could screw up that much, and the announcers didn't say anything. It just felt stupid. It felt like it insulted my intelligence. I'll go with you first, DCam. What did you think of the match? What did you think of the finish?
Not my favorite match on the show.
Okay.
It was weird in that in some ways it seemed designed to get JAC over, but then he's the one that took the loss. And it wasn't one of those, well, man, he looked good in defeat type moments where I don't know. It was just like, okay, yeah, you kind of knew the machines were going to win. And there were a couple of botches here and there. And honestly, the gut check that was performed didn't look that good. And I don't know. It wasn't my favorite. It was a little more than pitchy.
What did you think, Jaden? What did you think of it?
I was kind of paying attention because I like I'm stuck with this because I like Mondo and I like Slade. I like them as a tag team. I like them as singles. I like them with a boat. I like them with a goat. I like them with some cheese. I like them when they sneeze. Anyway, but I also want them to defend their singles belts. So I was been cooler if this was like, say, maybe Mondo destroying Jack instead of a singles match, and maybe had Daisy Kill against Slade and had 2 championship matches instead. I like them as a tag team. They remind me of the Steiners, but I also want them as the singles. And unfortunately, the way NWA schedule goes, it can't get best of both worlds, since we're going to talk about Hannah Montana.
Stupid. All right. Well, and again, I didn't see it as bad. I just thought the finish was rough. That leads us to the promo with Tyler Stevens, where he's basically just demanding respect from Trevor Murdoch. He points out that his first match with the NWA on Power was during that gauntlet where he won, became the number 1 contender, and his first one-on-one match had an opportunity to wrestle for the national title. Trying to, I feel like, overinflate his status, but these were all true points. So that was fine with me. And then the next promo was Joe Kazana was pissed off that the Slime Balls got the victory over the Country Gentlemen. And the weird part was KC had this big shit-eating grin the entire time with his face cocked and a big old smile on his face. And AJ was pissed, and AJ starts talking about, they took 2 of them to pin one of him, and that's not by the book. And then, Papa Joe got to get the catchphrase in. So decent promo there. I was okay with that. Did you guys have anything you want to add to the promos between the Wall, Tyler Stevens, or the Country Gentleman?
I fast-forwarded.
I didn't care.
All right. Then that puts us to the match. That gives us the Wall versus Trevor Murdoch. Now, the Wall has put on some size since the last time we saw him. He looked a lot skinnier the first time we saw him, so he's got a little bit more mass, which I think that's great. If you're taking your career seriously, if you're going to be billed as the Wall, you can't be tall and lanky. You got to put some muscle on. Murdoch walks out to the ring just looking grumpy as hell. He spends a few minutes just roughing up the wall, just absolutely like dominating the match. Stevens is working as a face. He hasn't really been identified as a heel or a face yet. So this is, with Murdoch being a heel, the de facto would be that Stevens is a face, but no one's really kind of made that clear. But during the match, he is working as a face. Tyler does get a little bit of offense in, and then Trevor hits him with the old eye gouge, and then hits a DDT, and that's all it takes to set up the Flying Bulldog for the 1, 2, and 3. The post match, you get Pretty Boy Smooth, the gentleman who was on this live stream not too long ago, and he attacks with a chair Trevor Murdoch, and the announcer said that this might have been some retribution for whatever Trevor and Mike Knox said to EC3 a couple weeks ago. I'm okay with a Pretty Boy Smooth and a Trevor Murdoch feud. We'll go with you first, DKM. What did you think of this match? What did you think of the post-match beatdown?
I didn't understand the post-match beatdown, but originally I talked about teaming Trevor Murdoch up with the peanut butter dude, and this works just as well. He needs to work with the big guy.
Yep.
And learn how to work with the big guy and as a big guy. So I don't fault the direction. The match was fine for what it was. I didn't find it special in any direction. And but I wasn't sure what was going on. And the problem is we know EC3's gone. And so still seeing him is kind of distracting.
Yeah.
Because it's like, well, what part does he play in all this? And what happens now that he's gone? Because, we know that Murdoch and Knox were out talking to him, during a previous match. But we don't know what they were saying, so we don't know why. I guess they didn't like peanut butter. And so peanut butter decided to attack the Murdoch. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't get it. I missed something somewhere. Jaden, what did I miss?
I think what you missed is because luckily I'm really good at reading lips, and Trevor Murdoch was telling EC3 that you really think this company is going to have your best future in hand, and this is how you want to have your legacy in this company. And I think Pretty Boy Smooth was probably mad because he was losing his mentor, because he was like, yeah, you're right. I should go elsewhere and take my ball elsewhere and leave Pretty Boy Smooth here to you guys. Actually, though, I think even though it was okay as a match, I like Murdoch winning, and winning against a big guy in that fashion kind of sets up his match with Peanut Butter Smooth. Because now he's got another big guy, so he shows he could beat a big guy. So now can he do the same thing with Five Head?
At least you didn't call him Zippy.
I like it when DK does it, so it's funnier when he does it for some reason.
Zippy.
Okay.
Well, is it Zippy, or since he's PB Smooth, is it Skippy? Skippy the Pinhead.
I like that.
For the record, it's Pretty Boy
Smooth. A fresh jar Skippy the Pinhead.
For the record, it's Pretty Boy Smooth. He did join us on the live stream not too long ago. Let's not say anything too negative about the guy. I mean, he first of all, great interview. Had a lot to say. I learned more about the guy in that interview than I knew about him before, and I feel like that was a very interesting conversation I had with him. Secondly, I think setting up a feud between him and Trevor Murdoch absolutely is going to be good for him. Being EC3's tag team partner, I'm sure has coached him and taught him a lot of things about pro wrestling. But again, getting in there to work with a guy who is a big guy, the NWA roster for a time was a murder's row of big, beefy, meaty men slapping meat. And it's kind of moved away from that as much. but there are still some big guys on that roster. And again, if Pretty Boy Smooth is going to be a part of the future plans of the NWA, I think you want him to get as much experience and time in the ring as you can with guys like Trevor Murdoch, with Mike Knox when he becomes healthy, and hopefully get better in the ring. As he's still a young guy. He's only in his 30s. He still has a lot of time, and could be something positive for the NWA going forward.
I mean, I really only have 2 issues with him. Well, 3. I don't like the name.
Fair. And it is Pretty Boy Smooth, not PB Smooth. It's very clear it's Pretty Boy Smooth.
Well, yeah, but that's not what everybody calls him, including some of the people there at the show.
Yeah.
So, but I don't like the name. He's green. You know, whatever his age or however long he's wrestled, he's pretty green, and it still shows. But that doesn't mean, look, we watched Camille go from extremely green to, a top talent in a very short amount of time.
And then not featured at all. And now MIA on a milk carton.
I'll be right back, gentlemen.
Here we go again. So,
all right. So the main event, it was great. Let's start. All right, let's go on.
So that was a great thing. What was next, Jay? What? That was it? Well, okay.
Yeah.
But seriously, though, I mean, yeah, he needs to work with Murdoch and Knox and other, put him in with Alexander Hammerstone. He should lose to Hammerstone, but but my thing is, one of the things that a big guy's got to know how to do is how to put your opponent in the right place. And that's something that only big guys can really do, the big, strong ones. If someone's not where they're supposed to be, they can get them where they're supposed to be. And that's something that Smooth needs to do. And Smooth needs to get a little more smooth in his movements. So, he needs to work with these top guys. He needs to get it in. And then I think, shut up and listen. And, let them teach and let him learn. Don't Adam Page us, which I'm not saying he ever has. I'm just saying,
right.
In general, younger guys or inexperienced guys, if you don't want to say younger, if he's in his 30s or whatever, shut up and listen to the veterans, and let them teach you, and they'll show you what you need to be done, what you need to be doing. Excuse me. So I don't know what happened next, Jay.
Then we get the Mims and Pope promo.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
You said you didn't like it?
I didn't like it, which is weird for me not to like a Pope promo.
So I think we could all agree that we're big Pope supporters on this live stream. We like Mims. We've had Mims on this live stream before. I don't mind the pairing. I feel like they said, so, hey, boss, why are we teaming together? And Billy just goes, So
controversy.
So what you get
for anything.
So what you get from the Pope is, I know the people want answers, but after 20 years in the business, I don't owe them any answers. It's like, okay, thanks for asking. There's a lot of revisionist history here with the Pope. He kind of leaves the part out where he left the NWA completely, and Mims had to figure things out on his own. They left out the part where Mims and Dak Draper became a successful tag team for a short period of time. They forgot about the part where Mims got himself that the national championship. They forgot about the part where Black G's managed him to a TV title. National title, excuse me. It just kind of comes back that, the Pope left and you had to figure things out, and now you figured it out. So welcome back. And there's no answers. There's no explanation. and they'll have their first tag team match next week. So at least we're going to get them in a tune-up match before the Crockett Cup, and I can appreciate that. Anything you want to add, DK?
Nah, not really. I mean, you basically nailed what was going on or not going on, more importantly, which is there were no answers. And, the reason Pope says we don't deserve answers because he doesn't know what they are.
There's probably some truth to that.
And so, I don't know. I didn't like it, which made me sad because I do like both guys.
A little bit pitchy for me, dog.
Just when you think you know the questions, we change the answers. I don't know. I really honestly didn't pay attention at all. I think I was there, but next.
All right. That leads us to the big rematch. We get Tom Latimer versus Thrillbilly Silas Mason. Now, Tom is certainly playing up to the Tampa fan base. Tom has mostly been a babyface since he won the NWA World Heavyweight Championship from EC3. So that hasn't changed. He's still operating mostly as a babyface, and again gets a pretty good reaction out of the Tampa crowd. And before the even introduction of the World's Heavyweight Champion begins, Tom brings the fight to the Thrillbilly. And I think that's kind of what you have to do because Silas Mason has been so dominant as champion. You're having to do something to catch him off his guard, break out of his comfort zone. And they're battling on the outside before the match even starts. Tom dodges. Oh, there's a point where Silas pushes Tom up against the ring post, and he goes to sock him, and Tom Latimer moves out of the way. So it sounded loud. Thrillbilly just punches the ring post, and of course, the announcer's like, "Oh, he broke his hand." Apparently, there was no broken hand because he was still able to wrestle just fine after that. And then Tom avoids.
Yeah, announcers need to not do that.
Yeah, I get hyperbole, right? I get the overzealous and excitement, but don't say "Oh, he broke his hand." You don't know. Come on, man, you don't know.
Well, I remember watching. This was actually Tony Givens when I'd watch his shows on YouTube. Whoever his play-by-play guy was, I swear, every show, one or two times, somebody broke their jaw, somebody broke their legs. Just constant. And it's just they didn't break their hand. So don't say they broke their hand. And then we watched them wrestle the rest of the match, almost no selling the fact that, they didn't.
Yeah.
They ever hit the post to begin with. And so some hype, some hyperbole, sure. If he had said smashed his hand, that would have been one thing. But broke, come on. Don't do that.
Yep. I agree. And then so after that, Tom avoids an early thrill ride. Obviously the thrill ride is what's going to put an end to anybody. Tom avoids it and then is able to hit a drop kick that knocks Silas Mason to the outside and then connects with a baseball slide to the outside. And then guess what? It goes to commercial break, except for if you're watching on Roku on your PC, you don't get commercials. So instead of it going to commercials, it goes to promos. And again, I feel like this is, I don't know why.
I didn't get a commercial.
Yeah, I didn't either. It just said, they said, we're going to go to commercial. And then it went to backstage promos.
Yeah, it was all promos. If you're going to say go to commercial, at least have, the commercial there. Don't stop this promo shit. I'm sorry. I'm going to beat another horse for a second. But it's stop pretending you're big league. And so you want to do things like the big league does, and the big league interrupts all their big matches for commercials. Hell, sometimes they interrupt the small matches for commercials. You spend more time watching the commercial than you do the match. Stop. You're in control. You know what you're doing. You don't have to go to promos. This isn't coming across making you look big time. It's coming across making you look stupid. Stop it.
Fair. Absolutely fair. Okay, so then we get Kenzie in the back talking about her. It's the first time she calls her sister baby. If baby Kylie says she didn't tap, she didn't tap. Of course, this is going back a few weeks ago when the Page sisters, Pretty Empowered, took on Teal Piper and whatever that was in the ring. Kenzie says, hey, look, maybe it's time for us to settle this one-on-one. I got dibs on Teal Piper. So a match that I guess they're setting up for next week will be the daughter of Rowdy Roddy Piper taking on the daughter of Henry.
Some backyard.
Henry?
Backyard.
Yeah. And I got my money on Kenzie, former NWA Women's World Champion, former TV champion, former tag team champion, 2-time tag team champion. So there was that promo. I think there was something else. I did miss something else. There was also TVMA, TV's Most Attractive, which was Miss Star and Tiffany Nieves, along with Greta, attacked Giselle Shaw and Natalia Markova, who were both just lamenting on how great of a matchup they had and how much they can't wait to fight each other again. And it was a real weird, like, hey, I really like you, and hey, you really like me. Let's wrestle again. That turned into TVMA attacking them, and then Greta put Markova through a table. Obviously, that's setting up something. We've talked about Tiffany Nieves down the road. Should definitely get an opportunity to wrestle Natalia Markova. I wasn't prepared for this. I wasn't expecting this, and but that's what we got. And what did you guys think of that?
Hated it.
What about you, DK? Did you like it or did you dislike it?
I liked the concept. I hated the execution. I was waiting for Markova and Shaw to start kissing each other.
Can we get that instead of those 8-bit segments?
Well, you got a point there. And, of course, being attacked by Tiffany makes sense in the sense that, they need to reignite that feud. I'm not going to say anything positive about Greta because there's nothing positive to say.
Go ahead.
She needs to go to a wrestling school. She needs to learn how to work. Her choke slam through the table wasn't horrible, but it wasn't good either. Stop thinking big, scary equals good. You would think we've had enough examples over the years of big, scary, great quality, John Gonzalez, people that just, it's not going to work. And I believe one of you guys said she's like 18 or 19 or something like that. So I'm not
good
saying,
old baby Greta.
Yeah, I'm not saying she can't be a wrestler, but she shouldn't be where she's at right now. She shouldn't be choke slamming the world champion through the thing. She's not Ray Traylor. And she needs to go to school, learn how to do it, and not be on power.
Here's the thing. She's on social media, and I guess one of the pages I follow her through the dog account, and she does go to wrestling school. I think it's the same school that Mondo and Markova and Brian Idol teach at, I think. And the practice that they were doing, they had like a practice run through, like they were doing corners and they were like gauntlet tagging in and out. She looked bajillion times better. So I don't know if it's just they're telling her to do what she's doing and she can't do what they want her to do or whatever. But like I said, the practice I saw her in, she looked a bajillion times better.
Well, that's a lot, a bajillion.
Well,
Bajillion times zero is still zero, but still.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. That's exactly what I was about to say.
Real quick, Double D mentioned Ronda Rousey, and I have to say this about Ronda Rousey. Whatever her takes are on wrestling, that's fine. But that woman has given this channel over like 1 million views and has put some cold, hard cash in your boy Jay's pocket by way of her one match in Ring of Honor teaming with Marina Sharif against Athena and Billy Starks. So I got nothing bad to say about Ronda Rousey. She still put money in my pocket, so I'm all right with her.
Apparently, I have a lot of bad to say about Marina Shafir. But yeah.
Look, you know I'm not great with names.
Yes.
Noob says, what about the promo? I think we got it. I think we covered your promo, Noob.
And I hated it. It was, hi, we love you. It's great match, comrade. It was like last week I was putting over how good the promo was, and this one was just like horrible. It was not right. It's like, hey, you're great. I'm great. Let's be great because we had great and we're all great. And then we have to start talking about Tony Khan talking about everything being great. It just was bad.
Well, like, and there could have gone a different way with it too. They could have been like, hey, I feel like we had good chemistry in that match. What do you think about going after those women tag team titles? The Hex just won them, and you could have built it that way as opposed to you're great, I'm great, we are the great tag team. I think they could have done something better.
I think but my joking Russian accent's better than your real one, Jay.
That's not a real Russian accent. I wish
the one I do, comrade, is very good Russian accent. One you're doing, not so good, comrade. In my country, the promos cut themselves.
Oh my god. Noob says, like I said, Tiffany Nieves is great, but I don't think Tiffany is fully ready to throw Markova for the world title just yet. Noob, I think we all agree with you. I don't think any one of us is saying that Tiffany Nieves should take the title off of
Miss Markova.
But I do feel like that's where they're going. That's what they're building up to. And honestly, who else in the NWA is prepared to take the belt off of Markova?
Very nice.
I don't think there's anyone there ready to do that. Jamming Music Man says, I remember that episode of ROH with Ronda Rousey teaming with Marina. Yeah, that got me a lot of hits. I got nothing to say, nothing negative to say. What were you going to say, DK?
I was just going to say that, people don't have to win titles, their first or second or whatever. It took Markova several chances before she finally won it. And that's not all. In today's wrestling, we get tired quickly because there's not enough stuff to go around. But, Ric Flair in over 2 years had multiple programs with multiple different people and repeated some of them and everything like that. From 84 to 86. And then he only lost it for 2 weeks in 86. And so then to 87, we're setting up a program of Markova and Tiffany. We're not setting up a title change between the two of them.
All right. Well, so all that being said, now we're back to the match. There was a match going on between all of this. Tom is in control of the match. Thrillbilly gets. Tom had control of the match. Then Thrillbilly avoids. I don't know what they were trying to do. It almost was like I think maybe Tom was trying to do his pop-up power bomb. I'm not entirely sure what they were going for, but Thrillbilly just leaped over it. And like I knew that Silas Mason was athletic, but he looked like he leapfrogged standing Tom Latimer. It was kind of a weird thing. I don't know what they were going for, but then he was able to capitalize on the leapfrog and turned Tom Latimer into a backbreaker when Tom chased him after that. Then after that point, the match took a weird turn, and maybe there was a legitimate injury in the match. I don't know, but at this point, Mason is literally just ragdolling and bear hugging Tom Latimer, and it literally just went on for like a couple of minutes, and the announcers were acknowledging that yes, Silas Mason has a background in jiu-jitsu. They said he had a black belt. I don't know if he has a black belt, but apparently that's what they were saying in the announce booth. That wakes up Tom as he starts biting the face and forehead of Silas Mason. He gets free. Then he connects with an inverted atomic drop, which the announcer said took a toll on Tom. I didn't really notice that, but then he hit a flying elbow into the turnbuckle. Really looks like Tom is building some momentum here. He hits the flatliner and then a DDT, and then nothing because Thrill-Billy catches him on a reversal of an Irish whip into the thrill ride and gets the victory 1, 2, 3. This was a very dominant victory for Silas Mason to win this way. It was almost like the wind was taken out of the sails of not just Tom Latimer, but the entire Tampa TV studio. It felt like there was something that just really just threw everything out the window. Like, Tom Latimer has been, he's a former world champion. He's a former, I think at this point, he's the only guy to have held all titles in the NWA, minus the ones that he doesn't qualify for. And for him to lose with just one throw ride kind of like changes the dynamic, kind of changes the power situation within the NWA. And Tom even gets up, respects that he lost, and goes to shake Silas Mason's hand, who refuses to shake his hand and leaves the ring. I don't know what's next for Tom Latimer. What can you do with him? He's now been handedly defeated by the world heavyweight champion, not only when he lost the title, but now in his rematch for the belt. It's kind of like back to the drawing board for Tom Latimer, and what's next for him. First and foremost, Jaden, what did you think of this match, and what's next for Tom Latimer?
I think the crowd killed it. I think maybe Tom had the wind knocked out of him. That's where the bear hug was, and I think that also killed a lot of it too. And maybe they went to the finish early because he was sucking wind or hurt or something happened. Because when you get your wind knocked out of you, it's hard to get that back. Even the few minutes in between is not enough usually.
Yeah.
But it was a good win for Silas, but it was an okay match. And I think now Tom should say that he's going to focus on the tag team titles now and not care about the world heavyweight title.
Who would you put him in a tag team with?
Good question. I guess we'll have to check over the roster and think about that, but I don't really know because there's not anybody who's British or, now that what's his name is gone.
Nick Aldis.
Apparently. Not Aldis. I was thinking of
Doug Williams?
Paul Burchill.
Burchill. Oh, that actually.
Yeah.
That's not a bad choice.
But since he's gone, I don't know. So we'll figure it out. I hear dogs.
Double D says, how about
Royce Isaac? Great. That'd be fun, actually.
Look, Royce has only gotten better since he's left the NWA, and he's had a lot of singles success. He's tag team success. He's been a part of that New Japan Strong, where him and his tag team partner, the 1% or the West Coast Wrecking Crew, they've gone by both names, have had a lot of success. They're former openweight New Japan USA tag team champions, and they actually went to CMLL but unsuccessfully challenged for those titles. So as much as I like Royce Isaacs, I don't think he is the guy, but I would be happy to see him return for sure. Before we get to DKM, Double D says, damn, I forgot to watch this week. Then says, is Tom leaving the NWA? I don't think he's leaving the NWA. Jammin' Music Man said, well, what's Camille's status in AEW? I mean, as far as we all know, she's still signed. I don't think she's a free agent. I don't think she's anywhere close to being a free agent. I don't know, Camille's.
She's getting paid to run her wrestling school by AEW. To stay home and run a wrestling school.
Yeah. It says she remains under contract with AEW and has plenty of time left on her deal despite her long absence from AEW programming. She has not been backstage at recent shows or involved in creative discussions. Her last match in AEW was a loss to Chris Statlander on the October 30th, 2024 episode of Dynamite. AEW has no immediate creative plans for her return, leaving fans to speculate on her future with the company. The other part that's interesting about that, and I still want to hear DK's thoughts on the match, was Camille hasn't been in the ring for AEW since 2024. She went an entire calendar year without being on TV. And they did the same thing to Scorpio Sky, although he had an injury. When he thought he was going to be done with the company, they ended up having a program for him that worked out pretty well for him, and he's still a part of that right now. DK, if you are here, tell us your thoughts on that match.
It was a tale of two matches.
That's fair.
I liked the beginning. I actually was enjoying it more than I enjoyed the title change match. But then, like you said, something happened, whether Latimer suffered a stinger or had the wind knocked out of him or something. It never really recovered from that. Apparently it kicked Jay out this time. I don't know. There he is. Did it kick you out?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
It just does that. It randomly.
I blame Tyrus, the one behind you. I think Mega Supreme should hit him with the Iron Claw.
Well,
1, 2, 3. Oh, but back to my point was it seemed to have the potential of being a really good match and then kind of ended weirdly. So I don't know if something happened or what. As for Tom, I go away, learn a new hold. He cut his hair. I saw a video of him and Camille at their school, and his hair had been cut. He had it short. And so, for some reason, I think he might have suffered a slight injury or had a procedure done or something after that taping. I don't remember specifically. I've been looking to see if I could find anything, and I haven't. But for some reason, that is somewhere in my head that it was like nothing major, nothing that was going to keep him out. But, you know.
He had a vasectomy.
Well,
that's
maybe.
nuts.
And so, I don't know. Yeah, it might be time for Tom just to take a break, recoup, heal up. You know, anyone who's been wrestling pretty straight now for a few years, they're probably a bit banged up and need some time to recover. And maybe this is time for him to take that and learn a new hold.
Well, it's the same thing we used to say about Nick Aldis, right? Like, let's be honest, Tom was kind of a workhorse for the NWA even before he was world champion. Yet EC3 defending that title all over the world, but Tom was on every taping. Tom was there having high caliber matches, wrestling everybody on the roster. And although EC3 was the world champion that beat Tyrus, Tom was right there too. I mean, he was a part of all of it. And then, had his run as world champion again, he took the belt all over as well. And he was able to make himself available for, Maple Leaf Pro and working some higher competition there. And I feel like they did a lot with Tom Latimer, and not that I would like to see him leave by any stretch of the imagination. I think he's a fantastic wrestler, but some time off I think would hurt him. And of course, what we used to say about Nick Aldis is, how can we miss you if you never go away? I feel like that could be applied to Tom as well. Like if he took some time off, I think the fans would miss him. And when he comes back as that baby face, that strong baby face, to take challenge Tom Latimer, challenge Silas Mason for the 10 pounds of gold, I think that would be something spectacular.
I mean, if he came back as a heel, just come back in a strong, way as a strong character. But I mean, I don't know. If he were gone 3 to 5 months, I think that could be good. And, let's be honest, that's what, 2 tapings for the NWA?
Well, look, they last filmed in December. They're going to be filming in 2 days. So that is, that's basically, all of January. They did not have a taping. They're going to film in February. And then they're taking all of March off it seems. And then the next taping's in April. So it seems like they're doing one TV taping that's 2 sets of TV tapings, and then one signature live event. At least that's what the format looks like right now.
Yeah, and probably what it needs to be until they figure something else out. But we can talk about that next week. And has Billy done all he can do? But my thoughts on the overall show, so we can wrap it up.
Yeah.
Is I thought the show was okay. I thought it exhibited some of the things that they do well and some of the things that they shouldn't be doing at all. And so wrestling was more good than not. But yeah, it was a C+, B- somewhere into there.
Jaden, if you were to give this show a score, what would you grade it?
A triangle. Probably a C.
A C?
Yeah, the non-wrestling things brought down a lot of the wrestling to me, and it was fine, but it could have been better. I'm hoping the video game store burns down and they have a really good insurance policy on it, so we don't have to see those segments anymore.
I hope it's a good policy so that they can bring in some more talent to the NWA, better talent. No, I take it back. I like the talent, just don't like the way that they use them.
What's going on next? How are we ending this?
Well, I mean, that was Power, right? We just discussed Power. We did a lead-in for the Crockett Cup that's coming up. We think the preliminary matches are happening Saturday. And I know that, that's the big event for the NWA until April, where they have the TV taping. Of course, the live events for the NWA are always happening. We also did a little bit talking about the United Wrestling Network's new program, Sunday Night Slam. And, of course, there's going to be a lot more with that over the coming weeks. And I plan to have a sit-down with Dave Marquez at some point to talk that up and give you guys a little bit more information behind it. I do see that there is a video uploaded to our screen. Should I play that video?
Hopefully I uploaded the right one. Sure.
All right, let's see. Let's bring it up here.
Right.
Oh, yep, that was it.
Fans, Rowan University, allow me to introduce myself. I am Max Mundo, the Dog Pro Wrestling Ambassador and ring announcer, and I've got an announcement that will shake this campus to its core. March 6th, Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators presents an exclusive night of adrenaline-pumping professional wrestling action. Welcome to WrestleMania. Headlining this massive event, the reigning defending Dog Champion, the man who finishes what he starts, Vinny the Fixer. And the championship picture is heating up in a major way because standing on the horizon is the Rowan After Hours Heritage Cup Tournament winner and the #1 contender for the Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators Championship. It's super fresh Adrian Soriano. Plus, the reigning defending Dog Tag Team Champions Matthew Ullman, Gabriel Hodder. They are all three Primal Fear. They will be in attendance on March the 6th. The world famous Cheeseburger will be in attendance. The battle-tested veteran Brutal Bob Evans will be in the house. And representing the National Wrestling Alliance, the Country Gentleman, AJ Kazana, will be there live. Rowan University, mark your calendars and prepare yourself. March the 6th, Rowan University, Rowan After Hours presents WrestleMania, brought to you by the Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiator. Witness the adrenaline, feel the intensity, and be part of Dog Pro Wrestling history. I'm Max Mundo, and I will see you at WrestleMania.
I love how the chat Double D says, "Oh, that's what Jaden looks like." That, in fact, was not Jaden. So WrestleMania is coming up. You have to be a student of Rowan University to get into the WrestleMania. But we'll be talking to Brutal Bob Evans actually next Thursday. And then we're going to be talking to Cheeseburger as well. And I'm hoping maybe we get even AJ Kazana back on the show to not only hype up this event, but as well as, talk some NWA. AJ Kazana, great mind for the business. Always a fun conversation with him. I think that's going to do it for us, guys. Is there anything else you would like to add before we call it a night, gentlemen?
Just also WrestleMania. Don't forget, also will be WWE and Ring of Honor alumni. Tank Tolan will also be in action, and they're going to see great wrestling action. And that's just some of the great things we got. Real quick, we got Dog at Rowan University on March 6th at the Rowan After Hours program, WrestleMania, and I definitely didn't name that. And then we got March 15th. We're going to be at the Nerd Force Fan Fest, also at Rowan University, and that's going to be at a table. So come check us out and talk to your favorite wrestlers of Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators. Get some autographs, get some pictures, buy some merch. And then we're going to be April 4th. We're going to be in Mullica Hill, New Jersey for the South Jersey Geek Fest. There'll be wrestling there, and there'll be a table including WWF, AWA, WCW alumni, ring announcer, NWA, and Gary Michael Capetta. He'll be there. So that'll be pretty awesome. And then we have our return to Little Egg Harbor, New Jersey, but our debut at the Pine Grove Regional High School.
Easy for you to say.
Yeah, I have to work on that one. It's not historic yet or rustic or anything, but we're going to be making our dog debut there, and it's going to be really awesome. Already signed is whoever the WWGP champion is, whoever the dog champion is, whoever the dog tag team champions are, and Little Egg Harbor's own Ty Thomas will be there. Ooh, I just did something weird. So that's coming up. So we'll have our ticket information once I find a good ticket place, because the one I was working, I just don't like what they're now charging.
That's fair. Hey, guys, thank you so much for joining us on this Thursday night. We do appreciate you making the effort and time to hang out with us here at the Alliance Blog Podcast. We will be back next week on Tuesday, like I said, with the pre-party with J. Cal. Broadcasting on all of our social media platforms, as well as we'll be back on next Thursday with the Alliance Guys podcast. And hopefully we'll have Brutal Bob Evans on earlier in the day, and that will be available for you guys to check out as well. But that's going to do it for us. In the meantime, make sure you visit alliance-wrestling.com, your number one source for news and information for the National Wrestling Alliance. You can also pick up some merchandise there at the merch store. Get it while you can, because I think the merch store will be closing very, very soon. But until next time, we will see you at the matches. Good night now.
Thanks for joining the stream. This has been a presentation of Alliance-Wrestling.com. We genuinely appreciate your support. Would you consider subscribing so you'll never miss a future episode? I'd also like to remind you we do a live stream every Tuesday at 5 p.m. before NWA Power. You can find us on social media at The Alliance Blog.